Alright guys, and welcome back to another preview video. And so obviously every time we preview a video, if you're new here, we go to the injury report, then we compare stats with each other's teams to see what the both teams excel at and what both teams don't excel at as much. So let's get in with the injury report. Obviously, everybody knows sad. Some more kind of bad news, but not really. Our backup tight ends have been playing with Marquise Gray and Dominique Jones. They've been playing, they've been playing really good in place of Deion Sims, Jordan Cameron. So I don't think we've been missing them as much. So obviously Deion Sims, one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL, will not play Sunday against the Jets. He's still in concussion protocol. Jordan Cameron is also listed out as a concussion. God only knows when he's coming. It's going to be a while before he comes back, which sucks. Also questionable, which means they will play. Issa Abdul-Quddus, Devontae Parker, and Laremy Tunsil. All three will play, so don't worry about that. The Jets have some their offensive line is there's some seriously good players who are going to be missing on that offensive line, such as Nick Mangold and Ryan Clady. Those are the two big names that they're missing. So those are two big. Also, they have another offensive lineman. I cannot say his name right. Brent Quavel. I can never say his name right. He's also not going to be playing. He's listed as doubtful, which means there's a really good chance he's not playing, which obviously, anytime a player is listed doubtful, they're not going to play. So they took a huge hit on their offensive line, and that is not good for, obviously, Nick Mangold, one of their best players, in Ryan Clady, walking, they got in a trade. So two big players that the Jets are going to be missing on one of the most important position groups, if not the second or the most important, the offensive line. So they took a huge hit there. So let's look at the New York Jets league rankings in terms of what they're good at and what they're not. Points, they are 28th in the league with 18 points a game, which is not very good. Yards, you guys as an NFL team, you want to be in that 20 range. I don't care if you average 20 or not. You kind of want to be in that range, and I think you'll be you have a pretty good offense if you can average 20 something a game. You have a decent offense. Yards are with 340 yards a game. They're 22nd in the NFL. They turn the ball over a lot, by the way. That stat alone right there. They turn the ball over a ton. They're very careless with the football, and that has a lot to do with who they have at quarterback. Obviously, Geno Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick fluctuating. And Ryan Fitzpatrick obviously played most of the season, but they turn over the ball a lot. They don't take care of the football that much. So pass yards, they're 23rd. With 230 a game. They have really, obviously, a talented receiver core with Brandon Marshall and all those boys. It's kind of weird that they're that low. And then rush yards are 15th with Matt Forte back there. So their strength on offense is running the football, as I just told you guys the stats, and they're missing two. Nick Mangold, probably one of the best run blocking centers. You could probably put him in a top 20 list of all time. That man can play. So they're going to be without him. So let's go to the Miami Dolphins. So we're 21st in points with 28 game, which is kind of the range you want to be in. And I know, that's the last two games that we've gotten healthy with our offensive line, we've averaged 30 or 28. No, we had 28 in Buffalo, and then 30 something, I can't remember, against the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken. So we've been scoring more than, we've been over 20 the last two games when we're healthy, and that's without our two starting tight ends. So there you go. So that's us healthy. Obviously, they have us 28 with 21st with all the other crap when we had Dallas Thomas and Billy Turner. But anyway, you guys know what I'm saying. Yards, we're 18th in the NFL with 349 yards a game, which is really good, actually. That's barely out of the 400 range. You would like to be at 350, 360, but that's all right. So pass yards, 229 a game, almost 230, 24th in the NFL, and rush yards, we're 7th in the league, obviously with JJ breaking out the last two games with 120 yards. Now, the pass yards thing I've talked about before. I think, obviously, to put this in, just simple as I can possibly put this, as an offense, when we weren't healthy on the line up front, you can, if you have a good offensive line, you don't get pressure. Like, you get pressure sometimes, but you don't get it every single play. That's how bad our offensive line was. We were getting pressure even on the run game. People were penetrating. It was terrible, and it's hard to play any kind of offensive football when that happens. Every single play, there's somebody coming through the O-line free, and then that, I don't care who you have at linebacker, when that happens with the defensive line doing that, it's a whole, landfill, so it just falls after that. So We did that in the first 2 weeks. Our offensive line was absolutely atrocious, and we still well, actually, the Seahawks game, they weren't that bad, but there's some plays. But you get what I'm saying. Against Patriots, they were pretty bad. We still were in the top 10. And against Cleveland, I think we were still in that top 10 range on the offensive side of the ball. Then we kind of fell out of it with the Cincinnati game, with the debacle that the Cincinnati game was. But my point is this offense is very capable when they want to pass the ball, and they were capable when this offensive line was healthy. So just if we have to pass the football, we're very capable of doing so, especially when our offensive line is healthy. We haven't actually been able to see that. Obviously, we had two huge plays in the past game last week against the Buffalo Bills, one on third down to Jarvis on a rollout, which was a great play by both players, Ryan and Jarvis, and then Ryan nailed the coffin with the deep pass to Kenny Stills there at the end of that game. So when we want to, we can pass the ball, is my point. So what this is going to come down to, in a lot of, all division games are really close. Sometimes it's not like that, though. If you've watched football, obviously sometimes it's not, sometimes it is. I just think we have the better football team, and I'm not saying that as a slight to the Jets because I'm a Dolphins fan, and I'm not being biased about that either. I do think we have a better I think we have a better coaching staff right now. What I mean by that, I think our coaching staff is more talented in some ways, and the Jets have a really talented head coach in Todd Bowles. He's a very talented defensive coordinator. But what I mean by that is we actually have a grasp of our football team. Like Adam Gase is 100%. All the players are 100% behind him as a leader and as a head coach. Same thing with Vance Joseph, with Clyde Christensen. These are some really good, talented coaches that have been around the league a long time and know what they're doing, and they have a grasp of this football team, and they have a control of it. I don't think the Jets have that. I think you saw that with Brandon Marshall coming out and saying some things. I think him advocating for who should be quarterback, or Ryan Fitzpatrick calling out the GM and saying they gave up on me and the coach gave up on me, stuff like that, and not having you don't know who to. And then there's like a locker room shift. You don't know who's going to play a quarterback. I think that affected them a lot. As last year when they went 10-6, they had an established quarterback. They had an established leader in that locker room. And Brandon Marshall's not much of a leader. He cries all the time. Everywhere he goes, there's locker room issues. He's kind of like the Terrell Owens. And I'm just stating facts. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Dolphins fan. But I don't know what's going on with that franchise. It just seems like it's falling apart. And I'm not saying, they've won two games in a row now with Ryan, but they played, they played the Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, who were hurt. They don't even have, the Cleveland Browns are hurt, and they almost beat them. So I'm not saying anything as I'm not trash talking the Jets. I'm just stating facts. They beat a competitive Ravens team, but there's a lot of wonky plays in that game. Anyway, the point is, the Jets, a lot of fishy stuff going on in that organization. Doesn't really seem like they have it all together. I think as a Dolphins, as a football team, whatever you want to see as talent on the field, anything you want to say about us, I think we have one of the better coaching staffs in this league, and it shows. He really has changed the way this culture, the team is ran, first of all, and the culture, and just in general. He's an actual head coach that Ryan Tannehill hasn't had since he's been in the league. Obviously, Vance Joseph. What a game he called against the Buffalo Bills. You saw that performance he had with keeping everybody healthy. Moving Mario Williams inside. He's got Andre Branch. Andre Branch has been one of the biggest surprises on this football team. The thing about him in Jacksonville was the fundamentals weren't there, but all the physical tools were there for him to be an elite pass rusher in this league. And Vance Joseph has completely and utterly brought that out in Andre Branch, which just, he was one of the funnest players to watch on for our football team right now. So I think as a coaching staff, we have the edge, and I think young talent-wise, we have the edge. I think, with Jay, DP, Jarvis, DP's got to get going sometime, man. I know he's got the hamstring injury right now, but he's missed some play. Like against the Bills, he barely missed. If he caught that, he would have walked into the end zone. So he's getting to that point, I think, where he's gonna come out. He's got to come out sometime, and I have faith that he will. Obviously, Kenny Stills is having a very underrated season. I think this is my point of me talking about all these passing. Is that's going to be a huge deal in this Jets game. If we can run the ball on the Jets, then we will win this football game. If we can pass the ball on the Jets, then we will win this football game. But if we can do both, there's no doubt in my mind we win this football game, because obviously the Jets' defensive line, super talented with Muhammad Wilkerson, Sheldon Richardson, and Leonard Williams, super talented. They're on a 3-4. Also forgot to mention Darren Lee and Bruce Carter are, I think they're listed as doubtful, or I know one of them's listed as out. I think Darren Lee's out, and I know Bruce Carter's out, I'm pretty sure too. Somebody can fact check me on that. I'm going to have to look that up, but those two are extremely talented players, especially Bruce Carter. Bruce Carter is a really good coverage linebacker, and Darren Lee is one of the fastest linebackers in the NFL. So those are, I mean, that's a huge hit to that 3-4, especially a 3-4. Those guys can rush too. So that's a huge hit to the New York Jets. So I think there's a lot, like I just said, the Jets are having, organizational issues, locker room issues, and I think as a coaching staff, we have a better coaching staff than they do. I think as talent-wise, our offensive line is one of the most talented in the NFL. Our quarterback is better. You can argue me with that all you want, but statistically, it's not even close. I think, in my opinion, it's not even close. I don't think between Ryan Fitzpatrick and Ryan Tannehill, in my opinion, I don't think it's even close. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, he's actually made plays to win games, and I'm talking about that's just talent alone. Anyway, I'm totally getting off subject here. I think overall, it's going to come down to, can we run the football on the New York Jets, and can we? Obviously, they're one of the worst secondaries in the league. So I think I know we can pass on them, and it's going to come down to pass protection. It's going to come down to, you never know with this offensive line, something crazy could happen. Somebody could stub a toe, and they're not Juwan James, or something crazy can happen. Another aspect of this game that people are going to have to look out to is Ryan Tannehill You've seen this, there's something different about him. He's actually being coached. I think this is the best way I can explain it. Like somebody said, I can't remember who said it, but somebody said it was like he's actually being coached now, and you can see that, and I think it's shown. I mean, he's made some incredible throws these last couple of weeks, so he's going to be a huge factor in this game. Todd Bowles loves to blitz. He comes from Bruce Arians, and down there in Arizona, they love to blitz. Like, he comes from that philosophy. Ryan Tannehill has struggled against pressure, and when I say that, because that's kind of slighted, because there was a statistic, it was one of the dumbest statistics against the Bills, where when he was pressured, there was when he's pressured, I've seen him do, there was a play against the Jets last year. He had a guy hitting him, and he threw a perfect pass to Greg Jennings for a touchdown. It was in garbage time, but it was still, the guy was on his chest. I can't remember if that was garbage time or was that before. I can't remember. But my point is I do think Ryan Tannehill can be good against pressure, and I've seen it before. But I'm saying he's going to send a lot of blitzes at Ryan Tannehill, and it's going to show a lot of people that if Tannehill can handle pressure a little bit more, and especially now that he can audible. That's a huge deal. People don't even talk about that. Now that he can audible, I think that's going to be huge against people constantly blitzing him. So a lot of people love to blitz Ryan Tannehill. Can he handle? I definitely think he can handle it. I think these last 2 weeks people try. He's had pressure right in his face, rolls out, finds Jarvis Landry for a first down. I think he can handle the pressure for sure. I think he's shown us that he can throughout his career. Now that he's able to audible, now that he's being coached, I think that's going to help him against Todd Bowles constantly blitzing him. That's my point I was trying to make. But anyway, so I think we have a very good chance of, and I don't want to say anything, I just think we have a very good chance. I think we're the more talented football team. I'm not saying anything. The Jets are obviously injured, so that I think we're the more talented, young, good football team. I think our coaching staff is better, and I think hopefully, and I trust Adam Gase's game plan. I think we have a good chance of winning this football game, and again against the Jets, so it's always close. You never know, or it could be a blowout. Hopefully, we haven't won it again. We need to win it. We haven't won against the Jets at home, I think, since Matt Moore in 2011 when we had Brandon Marshall. So that was the last time we beat the Jets at home, which was a fun game to watch. I remember that game. But anyway, that is going to be it, guys. I am SkyX83, and I will see you guys in the next one.